Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a woman alone at a table, scrolling through her phone, watching the laughter and chatter of others from a distance. It's not just the absence of company that makes her solitude apparent. It's the sense of something missing, something essential. The question is, how did she get here? And more importantly, how does she move forward? Human beings are wired for connection. Relationships are not a luxury, they are a necessity. For women, friendships often serve as a cornerstone of emotional expression and mutual understanding. Women tend to form deep bonds, sharing joys, fears, and vulnerabilities in ways that can profoundly shape their identity and well-being. The absence of these connections creates a void that can feel unbearable. Humans are inherently social creatures, deeply wired for connection and interaction. This fundamental truth is embedded in our biology and psychology. Relationships are not merely a pleasant addition to life, they are essential for our well-being and survival. Friendships, in particular, are vital to emotional health, as they provide a sense of belonging, shared experiences, and an emotional support system. For women, these connections often take on an even more profound role, as society frequently assigns women the role of nurturers and emotional caregivers. In these roles, they both seek and provide deep, meaningful connections that enrich life in ways that cannot be replicated by any other form of interaction. Friendships offer an environment where one can safely express vulnerability, share joys and burdens, and develop a deeper understanding of oneself and others. These connections are a mirror reflecting back our identity, reinforcing our sense of self-worth and belonging. For women, friendships can act as a refuge, a place where shared empathy and understanding create a sense of solidarity in facing the complexities of life, from personal struggles to societal expectations. The absence of friendships, however, is not simply an emotional void. It represents a fracture in the network of support that people inherently need. For a woman, being without friends can amplify feelings of loneliness, alienation, and inadequacy. It can create a feedback loop isolation where the absence of connection leads to self-doubt, which in turn makes it even harder to build meaningful relationships. This isolation can also deprive her of the opportunity to grow through shared experiences, challenges, and the guidance that comes from trusted companions. Friendships provide a context for personal development. They encourage us to confront our flaws, expand our perspectives, and learn to communicate effectively. Through meaningful relationships, we develop the skills of listening, empathy, and conflict resolution. For women, these bonds often offer a unique space for emotional depth, where the challenges of life can be openly discussed and met with understanding and support. Without this, the process of self-discovery and emotional maturation may stagnate, leaving a woman feeling stuck and unsure of how to move forward. The importance of these connections becomes even clearer when we consider their impact on physical and mental health. Studies consistently show that a strong social network can reduce stress, enhance resilience, and even prolong life. Friendships act as a buffer against the inevitable hardships of life, providing a sense of stability and grounding when things feel uncertain. For a woman, these relationships are not just about companionship. They are a lifeline, a reminder that she is seen, valued, and understood. A woman with no friends faces a unique kind of struggle, not simply the absence of social interaction, but the loss of a vital human experience. Understanding the importance of connection is the first step toward addressing this issue. Building friendships requires effort, vulnerability, and patience, but the rewards are transformative. It's through these connections that a woman can rediscover her sense of belonging and step back into the fullness of life. The reality of a woman having no friends is often rooted in complex, layered causes that are deeply personal and shaped by her experiences, choices, and environment. It is rarely a matter of circumstance alone. Instead, it reflects a series of intertwined factors that, over time, contribute to her social isolation. To understand how such a situation develops, we must first acknowledge that human relationships are inherently challenging and require consistent effort, emotional vulnerability, and self-awareness. When any of these elements falter, it can pave the way for loneliness to take hold. One of the most common contributors to a lack of friendships is personal insecurity. A woman who struggles with low self-esteem may find it difficult to trust others, fearing rejection or judgment. This fear can manifest as hesitance to reach out, reluctance to maintain connections, or an inclination to withdraw from social situations altogether. In many cases, these insecurities are rooted in past experiences, such as childhood neglect, bullying, or failed relationships, which leave a lasting imprint on her ability to connect with others. Societal pressures also play a significant role. Women often face cultural expectations to embody perfection, to be likable, or to consistently prioritize others' needs over their own. These pressures can create a sense of performance in social interactions, making genuine connections feel strained or inauthentic. Additionally, as women juggle multiple roles, such as professional responsibilities, family obligations, or caregiving, they may find their time and emotional energy depleted, leaving little room for cultivating friendships. Whether emotional, psychological, or relational can be another profound factor. A woman who has experienced betrayal, abuse, or other forms of harm in relationships may develop a protective mechanism of isolation. Trust, once broken, becomes a fragile thing to rebuild, and she may choose solitude as a way to shield herself from further pain. While this self-protective strategy may feel safer in the short term, it often results in deeper feelings of loneliness and disconnection over time. Another often overlooked cause is the pattern of self-sabotage. Some women may unknowingly engage in behaviors that push others away, such as being overly critical, defensive, or distant. These behaviors are rarely intentional. Rather, they stem from unresolved inner conflicts or a lack of emotional regulation. Without recognizing these patterns, a woman may find herself repeatedly struggling to maintain meaningful connections, perpetuating the cycle of loneliness. It's also important to consider the impact of environmental factors. Modern life, with its emphasis on digital communication, can create the illusion of connection without the depth of true relationships. A woman surrounded by superficial interactions may feel more alone than ever, as the absence of genuine companionship becomes starkly evident. The causes of isolation are deeply nuanced, and each woman's story is unique. However, by identifying and understanding these root causes, be it insecurity, societal expectations, trauma, self-sabotage, or environmental influences, a woman can begin to take steps toward breaking free from the patterns that keep her disconnected. Recognizing the barriers is the first step in dismantling them, opening the door to the possibility of meaningful relationships. The absence of friendships in a woman's life is not merely a social inconvenience. It can have profound psychological, emotional, and even physical consequences. Loneliness, when prolonged, becomes a heavy burden that touches every aspect of a person's well-being. For a woman with no friends, the emotional void often leads to feelings of inadequacy, as she may question her worth or wonder if something is inherently wrong with her. This persistent self-doubt can spiral into a broader sense of hopelessness, making it increasingly difficult to build the confidence required to seek out and sustain connections. The emotional toll of loneliness is closely tied to mental health challenges such as depression and anxiety. Without the support of friendships, a woman is left to face life's challenges entirely on her own. There is no outlet for sharing her worries, no reassurance that her struggles are understood, and no validation of her experiences. Over time, this isolation can distort her perception of reality, making her feel as though she is uniquely burdened or fundamentally alone in her hardships. This sense of disconnection can be overwhelming, leading to withdrawal from not only social opportunities, but also other areas of life, such as work or hobbies. Loneliness is no less damaging. Research consistently shows that social isolation is linked to increased stress levels, which over time can harm the body. Chronic stress disrupts hormonal balance, weakens the immune system, and raises the risk of conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, and even cognitive decline. For a woman with no friends, the absence of social bonds removes a critical buffer against the physiological effects of stress. Friendships, after all, provide laughter, shared experiences, and a sense of belonging, all of which act as natural stress relievers. Beyond individual health, loneliness impacts a woman's ability to navigate the broader world. Friendships serve as an essential network of support and guidance. They provide perspectives outside one's own, helping to solve problems, make decisions, and grow as a person. Without these relationships, a woman may feel stuck, unable to see opportunities for change or improvement. The absence of friends also limits access to social experiences that are vital for personal growth, such as learning from other successes and failures or being introduced to new ideas, cultures, and activities. Perhaps one of the most insidious consequences of loneliness is the way it perpetuates itself. A woman who feels isolated may develop a fear of rejection that prevents her from reaching out to others, even when opportunities for connection arise. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle. The more isolated she feels, the more difficult it becomes to break out of that isolation. Additionally, societal stigma surrounding loneliness can make her reluctant to admit her struggles, further deepening the divide between her and potential friends. The consequences of loneliness are far-reaching, touching the emotional, mental, physical, and social aspects of life. For a woman with no friends, these effects can compound over, creating a sense of invisibility and detachment that feels impossible to overcome. Understanding these consequences is crucial not as a source of despair, but as a call to action. It highlights the urgency of addressing loneliness and underscores the importance of fostering genuine connections to restore balance and fulfillment in life. Building meaningful friendships is not a passive process. It demands active effort, self-awareness, and most importantly, a sense of personal responsibility. For a woman with no friends, this can feel like an overwhelming challenge, particularly when isolation has become a long-standing pattern. However, it's essential to recognize that meaningful relationships are neither accidental nor effortless. They are cultivated through deliberate choices, resilience, and the courage to confront one's own limitations. Resilience plays a vital role in the process of forming and maintaining friendships. Relationships are inherently imperfect because they involve two individuals with unique perspectives, needs, and expectations. Misunderstandings, disagreements, and even periods of disconnection are inevitable. A woman seeking to build friendships must develop the emotional resilience to navigate these difficulties without retreating into isolation or abandoning relationships prematurely. Resilience allows her to persevere through challenges, learn from setbacks, and maintain hope for connection even when things don't unfold perfectly. Equally important is the willingness to take responsibility for one's role in relationships. A woman who feels disconnected may find it tempting to place blame externally on circumstances, other people, or society at large. While these factors can certainly influence her situation, the path to meaningful friendships begins with a shift in perspective, recognizing that she has the power to change her approach. This does not mean taking on undue guilt or self-blame, but rather adopting a mindset of accountability. She must ask herself honest questions. Am I putting in the effort to connect? Am I showing kindness and interest in others? Am I addressing behaviors or attitudes that might unintentionally push people away? Taking responsibility also involves a commitment to self-improvement. Friendships require emotional skills that are often learned and refined over time, such as active listening, empathy, and effective communication. If these skills are underdeveloped, a woman must be willing to invest in learning them. This might involve seeking feedback, reflecting on past interactions, or even pursuing therapy or personal development resources to address deeper issues that hinder her ability to connect with others. Courage is another essential element in the journey toward building friendships. Reaching out to others, especially after experiencing rejection or prolonged isolation, can feel daunting. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to show up as one's authentic self, even when there's a risk of being misunderstood or hurt. Vulnerability, however, is not a weakness. It is a strength that opens the door to genuine connection. By taking the risk to engage with others, a woman signals her openness to forming relationships, creating opportunities for meaningful bonds to develop. The process of building friendships is an active and intentional effort. It requires resilience to face challenges, responsibility to take ownership of one's role, and courage to step outside of comfort zones. For a woman with no friends, this journey may be difficult, but it is also profoundly rewarding. Each small step toward connection strengthens her ability to relate to others, deepens her understanding of herself, and lays the foundation for relationships that can bring joy, support, and fulfillment to her life. Friendships are not just about spending time together or sharing common interests. They thrive on deeper principles such as mutual respect, shared values, and healthy boundaries. For a woman with no friends, the absence of these principles in her past or present relationships may be a significant reason for her isolation. Understanding and embracing these core elements is essential for creating and maintaining meaningful connections. Mutual respect is the foundation of any healthy friendship. It involves recognizing and valuing the other person's individuality, opinions, and needs. Without respect, relationships can quickly become one-sided or transactional, where one person feels taken for granted or misunderstood. For a woman struggling to build friendships, it's important to examine whether she has allowed relationships in the past to become imbalanced or whether she has struggled to establish respect for herself. Self-respect is equally critical. It sets the tone for how others treat her. When she values her own time, energy, and boundaries, she signals to others that she deserves the same respect in return. Shared values form another cornerstone of lasting friendships. While differences in personality or lifestyle can add richness and diversity to relationships, underlying values often determine whether those relationships can endure. A woman with no friends may have experienced superficial or fleeting connections because they lack this deeper alignment. Shared values provide a sense of common purpose and understanding, making it easier to navigate challenges and disagreements. For example, friendships built on values like honesty, kindness, or a shared passion for personal growth are more likely to withstand the test of time because they are grounded in principles that both individuals hold dear. Healthy boundaries are just as important as respect and shared values, yet they are often overlooked or misunderstood. Boundaries are not barriers, they are guidelines that define what is acceptable and what isn't in a relationship. For a woman with no friends, the absence of boundaries may have led to past experiences where she felt drained, unappreciated, or even exploited. Conversely, overly rigid boundaries may have prevented her from opening up and letting others in. Learning to establish and communicate clear boundaries is an essential skill for building relationships. It allows her to protect her emotional well-being while also creating space for trust and connection to flourish. One of the challenges many women face in forming friendships is the fear of rejection or conflict when asserting their needs or boundaries. However, it's important to recognize that authentic relationships are built on honesty and transparency. If someone cannot respect her boundaries or align with her values, it's better to recognize that early rather than invest in a relationship that will ultimately leave her feeling unfulfilled or hurt. For a woman seeking to overcome isolation, the focus should not be on seeking approval or conforming to others' expectations. Instead, it's about cultivating relationships that are rooted in mutual respect, shared values, and a balance of give and take. By prioritizing these principles, she can create friendships that are not only meaningful but also sustainable. These connections, though they may take time to develop, offer the depth and authenticity needed to break free from loneliness and foster a sense of belonging and fulfillment. The path to reconnecting with others and building meaningful friendships is a journey of growth, self-discovery, and intentional effort. For a woman with no friends, this process begins with a willingness to confront her current reality and take actionable steps toward change. While it may seem daunting, the act of reconnection is deeply transformative, allowing her to rediscover herself and foster relationships that bring joy and meaning to her life. The first step in this journey is authenticity. Authenticity means showing up as her true self, free from the need to impress, conform, or hide her vulnerabilities. Many women who struggle with friendships may feel compelled to mask their emotions or present an idealized version of themselves, fearing rejection or judgment. However, real connections are built on genuine interaction, where both individuals feel seen and accepted for who they truly are. By embracing her own imperfections and being honest about her feelings, she creates a foundation for others to trust and relate to her on a deeper level. Embracing self-improvement is another critical aspect of reconnection. Building and sustaining friendships requires certain skills: listening, empathy, communication, and emotional regulation. If these skills have been underdeveloped or neglected, it's important for her to invest time and effort into learning and practicing them. This could involve reading about emotional intelligence, seeking advice from trusted mentors, or even working with a therapist to address deeper challenges that might be blocking her from forming connections. Self-improvement is not about changing who she is, but about enhancing her ability to connect meaningfully with others. Curiosity plays a powerful role in fostering new relationships. When a woman approaches others with genuine interest and an open mind, she creates opportunities for connection. Asking thoughtful questions, actively listening, and showing enthusiasm for others' experiences can help her build rapport and establish trust. Curiosity also helps overcome the fear of rejection by shifting the focus away from herself and onto the shared experience of interaction. This mindset not only strengthens her ability to connect with others, but also enriches her own understanding of the world. Empathy is another key to reconnection. It involves putting herself in others' shoes and seeking to understand their emotions, perspectives, and needs. Empathy allows her to build stronger, more compassionate relationships by creating a sense of mutual care and support. It also helps her navigate conflicts or misunderstandings with grace, fostering relationships that can withstand challenges. Patience is essential. Rebuilding a social network or forming new friendships takes time and effort. It's important to recognize that not every interaction will lead to a deep connection, and that meaningful relationships are built gradually. There may be setbacks, disappointments, or periods of doubt, but persistence is key. By continuing to show up, take small risks, and engage with others, she increases the likelihood of forming lasting bonds. Reconnection is not just about finding friends, it's about rebuilding a sense of belonging and reestablishing her place in the social fabric of life. By embracing authenticity, self-improvement, curiosity, empathy, and patience, she can overcome the barriers of isolation and create relationships that are fulfilling, supportive, and transformative. The journey may be challenging, but the rewards of genuine connection are worth every step. In conclusion, the journey of a woman with no friends is not a story of permanent isolation, but one of untapped potential for growth, transformation, and connection. Friendships are a cornerstone of human existence, providing emotional sanctuary, opportunities for self-discovery, and a shared sense of purpose. While the causes of isolation may be deeply rooted in insecurities, societal pressures, past trauma, or self-sabotage, they are not insurmountable. Recognizing these challenges is the first step toward change. The consequences of loneliness are profound, affecting mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Yet within every struggle lies the possibility for renewal. By embracing resilience, taking responsibility for her role in relationships, and approaching life with authenticity, a woman can begin to forge meaningful bonds. Through mutual respect, shared values, and healthy boundaries, she can nurture friendships that offer depth and sustainability. And by cultivating curiosity, empathy, and patience, she can step out of her comfort zone and rediscover the beauty of human connection. This is not an easy path, nor is it one with immediate rewards, but it is a path worth walking because the richness of life is found in the relationships we build. For a woman with no friends, the challenge is not to lament what is missing, but to take action, however small, toward creating the life she desires. In doing so, she can reclaim her sense of belonging, rediscover her intrinsic worth, and open herself to the joy, growth, and fulfillment that true friendships bring.